Assalamu alaikum. How are you? We're doing planning steps. In our last lecture, we did a few planning steps. We did how to define the purpose. We did how to analyze the audience, how to choose data, how to collect facts and figures, and then we discussed about the outline and the organizational plan. A very important thing to know, organizational plan, and which organization plan to choose for which type of letter. And then we discuss some beginning and ending. So now you are at a stage to compose your messages. What do? You have gone through all these steps. You have ideas in your mind. Your purpose is very much clear to you, vivid to you. You know your audience. You have chosen all the information and collected all the facts, figure, and they are all before you. Now, it's time to start your message. Maybe, first of all, you would like to write all the points in bullet form. Maybe you write then in a first draft form, whatever form. Different people use different forms. For example, some use some sort of linear, they take one point and then finish it and pick up the second and then finish it, and some other use a circular way. They just elaborate all the points in a less fixed way. No two writers use the same way. Every writer has his or her own way, so you can have your own way. So you have to write an order letter, you have to write a complaint letter, you have to write adjustment letter or sales letter. Now I'm sure that whenever I'm using order letter, inquiry letter, sales letter, this letter, that letter, one thing must be coming into your mind. And what's that? Which organizational plan to choose for an order, for a sales letter, for a complaint letter, and for any other letter. This is very important. So whenever you want to write something, this organizational plan should come into your mind. Which plan? Direct method, indirect method. Main idea first, good news first. Buffer or attention first. So whatever it is, that should come into your mind. So you are composing your messages and you have all the points and you have brought all the points into the paper. So after you have written the first draft of your message, composed the first draft of your message, you move on to the second step, and that is to edit. Here you start looking at your message. You start looking at your message that is the grammar of the sentence correct? Are the words picked up are simple? Are the word picked up simple? Concise? Do they convey your meaning? Are they denotative? Are they conversational? Is the structure of the sentence simple? Etc. etc. All these things. Beside all these things, you can think of another thing, and that is, if you revise the message, can it improve in any better way? This is very important. So from editing you come to the revising stage. You read your message and you think that all the information given in the message is correct or not. Have you picked up all the points that you wanted to convey? Will the message accomplish your task, accomplish your idea or not? So you have to look at the message from this angle. So whenever you are at this stage, think of these things. that. Does your message accomplish its purpose? Have you chosen the most effective organizational plan? Are your points supported by adequate material? Is your language complete, concise, considerate, concrete, clear, courteous, and correct? Have you used variety in sentence structure? So, you go through these guidelines and you revise your message, you edit your message, and you compose your message. But here, your message still needs one last stage, and that is proofread. Proofreading means that after you have written the message, revised the message, you improve the message, you have added some information that was lacking, you have eliminated information that was unnecessary. You have gone through this whole process, and the message is lying before you as a last for a last reading. So this is the proofreading stage. Remember that proofreading is a very difficult task, especially for the writer, because when you write something, you have a lot of things about your message in your mind, and sometimes what happened is that we might have written one word, but that word does not convey exact meaning that we wanted to convey. But since the meaning is lying somewhere in our mind and we are reading that word without giving it consideration, sometimes there may be some spelling problem, sometimes there may be some grammar problem. These type of problems are always there. Since we have written it ourselves, so we may be overlooking these things. Remember that whenever you come to this stage, it's better to read it aloud, especially when we are writing in a second language. We are prone to such mistakes. We may make such mistakes. So it's better that we should read our messages aloud. And if we have the facility of asking somebody to read for us, that can give us a double benefit. We will listen to it because listening tells us more about the message. We can analyze the message from every aspect. So, reading aloud or making somebody read your letter can help us a lot in improving our message, in proofreading our messages. So, these are few preparatory steps that must be taken care of when we are writing our message. Planning our messages, designing them, then composing them, then editing them, then revising them, and then proofreading them can help us writing those messages which can achieve the desired result that we have in our mind. And besides, they also create goodwill for with the reader as well as with us. So with this we end this topic. Let's take few messages on your own and then see whether these messages have all these points. For example, I have read many letters for you in this lecture and in the previous lectures. Pick up those messages and then apply all these principles that we have discussed in these lectures, whether they been written after some planning, they have some purpose, they are reader oriented, the ideas are well chosen and fact figures well collected. Let's look at these messages from these points and make a difference. Again, take two different newspaper and look for some common news item in them, and then compare those two news items for their similarities and for their differences. See how the beginning was made, how the ending was made, how the middle explanation was given. It will enrich your knowledge, your understanding of this writing process. So I'm sure that if you carry out such an exercise, you will benefit from it a lot, right? From this, we move on to another topic, and that is the appearance and design of the business messages. What is the appearance and what is the design of the business messages? The electronic revolution has changed these messages that we write a lot in terms of its content, in terms of its appearance, in terms of its format. You receive a message, that message has some information, verbal information, but beside this verbal information, it has some non-verbal information too for you. For example, the moment you pick up a letter, you know that it has a message. You have not yet opened it. You know it has a message. And what you know from the moment you picked up the letter, because it tells you the name of the organization which has sent this letter. So you know the writer of the letter. Beside that, it tells you that whom it is written to. I mean, the name of the reader, it's not only the name of the reader, the department of the reader, the position of the reader, and the address of the reader. So you know all these things from reading just the envelope. The envelope tells you a lot. It gives you the name of the organization that has sent that letter to you, and it also has the name of the person whom it is addressed. So the envelope, before you have opened it, gives you some information. Not only this, it may have some other information for you. For example, is the letter confidential, or is the letter urgent, or some other information. So this all type of such information is found on the envelope, on the face of the envelope. So now we discuss a few aspects regarding the appearance of the messages and the format of the message. So regarding the design and format of the messages, take care of few things. First of all, you must know about the stationery. For example, the letterhead that we use should be of high quality. Normally, it should have 20% cotton contents in it, because letters are to be kept for a longer period of time. They can be used further anytime later in future. So the paper used must be of quality. At least 25% cotton content should be there, and the weight of the paper should be at least 20 pounds. Beside this, color is also very important. The color of the letterhead gives your taste. It sends a non-verbal message to the reader about the taste of the writer or the sender of the message. So it should be either white or off-white or cream color, but it should not be some gaudy color or color which shows some poor taste of the writer. Then we come to the envelope. Normally, the envelope has present information to the reader in this way. Let's look at this. For example, if it is our envelope, The upper left hand corner is used for the return address, the address of the writer, and here we write the address of the receiver. It includes the name of the receiver, it includes the position of the receiver, it includes the department, the street number, the city name of the city, any city code, any postal code, anything that is required to send that message to the right person. So this main address is written here, and here we have the return address of the writer. Sometimes we also include some mailing notation. Mailing notation means that whether the letter is urgent, whether the letter is confidential, or we want to send the letter to a specific person, etc. So this type of information is given here. After this, we come to the paper of the letter or the letterhead. This is our letterhead, right? Just imagine, I'm not sure. Let's take it, it's difficult to take it for a letterhead, but just imagine. This is your letterhead. Letterhead always carry the main information about the company, about the organization. It carries the name of the organization, it carries the address of the organization, it carries the telephone number, the faxes number, the cable number, email. Sometimes it includes the products of the information. Remember that it should be very simple. The design of the letterhead should be very simple. It almost occupies 2 inches at the top of the paper. So 2 inches at the top of the paper it occupies. So after that we have the rest of the paper. Normally the size of the letterhead is 8.5 in width and 8.5 in width and 11 inches in length. This is the size of the letterhead. For some legal documents, sometime a longer paper is used, say of 16 inches. But normally the practice convention is of 18.5 and 11 inches. So 2 inches space is used for letterhead. But let's imagine that you are writing a letter in your examination, or you are not representing any organization and you are writing any message. In that case, you don't have any printed letterhead. So what are you doing? You are using some plain paper. Whenever you are in such a situation, you have to write some message, and the message is not written by any member of the organization. You have to use a plain paper. Try not to use a lined paper. Use a plain paper. So in plain paper, always leave these 2 inches. You don't have to start from here. You just leave them blank and then start here. So if you are writing in your examination, or you are not representing any organization, you are using a plain paper. In plain paper, here you are starting your letter from heading. Then the first part of your letter is your heading. Heading carries your name, your address, all the information that can pinpoint you. So heading is started almost 2 inches below the top of the paper, right? Heading, as I told you, is your information, the writer's information, the sender's information. Then comes the date. After the heading, you write the date. But before date, I must tell you that it is written single spaced. all the lines of the headings have single space. We will discuss later on about the punctuation. That is another important point of the heading. But heading must be written simple, single space. Then comes the date. Date means the date of the letter, the date of the communication. It's very important because it tells the reader when the letter was written and also used for in future for references. Date can be written in different ways. For example, you can write the name of the month. Let's say you can say June 6, and then you write the year. This just gone out, so don't take it for that. Like you have to write date like this, June 6. You can write 6 June as well instead of. And here you place a comma. You see that I have not placed any full stop after the year, and you avoid it too. Don't put any punctuation mark after the year. You have to put a comma after the months, whether the date comes before or after. There is another way of writing date. For example, the same date can be written in this way. So if you look at this date, in our convention, it is 7th of 6th month, and is 7th of June. But from the Americans concept, it is the 7th month and the 6th day. So this can cause problem. From British convention, it is the 6th month and the 7th date, and from the Americans convention, it is the 7th month and the 6th day. So try to avoid such confusions, because you have to write messages that can go to different cultures. So it's better that you should write the date with the name of the month. Another thing that you need to take care of is that sometimes we use suffix. For example, we may use 6th. Nowadays we do not use it. Whenever you want to know about the latest convention in this, it's one way is to pick up any book on communication. Another is to look up any good dictionary, any learner's dictionary. In all the learner's dictionaries, such conventions are given, which correspond to British way of writing these things, and which tells you about Americans' way of writing these things. So you must write date in this way, that either you should write the day and then month or day. Both can go and they are equally good. But be careful about the punctuation. Put a punctuation mark, a comma between the day, month and the year, and don't use any full stop after the day. We have another component. It is the third part of our business message. Number one is heading. Heading is the writer's address. Number two is date, the date of the communication. Number three is inside address. Inside address carry the addressee's name, preceded by any courteous title, and then the address, further address, the department, right? So we don't write any telephone number, etc. In this part of the message. Simply it has the title, the courteous title or any other title, and the name or the position of the reader of our message, and then the address, which is important to convey so that our message reaches its reader. So it can be like this. For example, Mr. Ahmed Hassan, Principal, Government College, Lahore. So you see that first we have the courteous title, then the name of the person, then the position of the person, and then the address of the person. Inside address also is written single spaced, like the heading of the message. Whenever we are writing these parts, we give certain spacing. Spacing is very important. When you are writing heading, you give double space. Within the address, there is single space, but within two parts, we are giving double space. Similarly, when we start inside address, we give double space, and then within the inside address, we give single space. Single space is to be given in the inside address. After inside address, we have salutation. Salutation is one way greeting phrase. I mean, the way you greet somebody in a face-to-face meeting. In letters, we write salutation. Salutation is written again. How many spaces below? Yeah, 2 spaces below the inside address. Salutation is written in different way according to the level of formality that exists between the reader and the writer. For example, if you are writing, if you are a student of any institution and you are writing to the principal of the institution, there needs to be some level of formality between you and your reader. You will be using some very formal salutation. But if you are writing any business message, any business letter, memo, etc., then there is less formality. If the reader of your message is your superior, again you will be using some level of formality, but not to that level. I mean, it will be a less formal. And if you are writing messages at equal level, so you are using informal level. So let's look at different types of salutation which are written because of certain level of formality. So in most formal situation, we use formal salutation. For men, we say, most formal, we say sir, and for women, we say madam. In formal situation, I mean, most formal is the superlative degree. Formal, little less than the formal. In that we use like my dear sir for men, and for women, my dear madam. When we are a little lower than this level, we are in less formal, and in less formal, this is the level which is normally used in business letters. We use for men, dear sir, my dear Mr., any name, dear Mr., any name, and for women, dear madam, my dear Mrs. Khan, my dear so and so. This level shows that we have some equation with the reader of our message. Then we sometimes choose some friendly salutation like my dear Ahmed or dear Ahmed, and similarly for ladies. So remember that you have to pick up your salutation as per the requirement of the level of formality. If you have to think who is your reader of the message, if he is senior to you, you are choosing formal, sometimes very formal, sometimes less formal. But in business communication, in business letters, we use informal or less formal salutation. In salutation, normally salutation are followed by any comma or sometime colon. It again depends on convention, that what are the convention. Remember that I'll discuss it later, that a lot of things depend on the convention of your organization. At this stage, I'm not discussing some other issues. For example, I'm just writing these parts of the letter. For example, I have written or shown this heading on the right side of the page, date on the right side of the page, inside address and salutation on the right side of the page. But can they be exchanged, or is there any other possibility? Will be discussed later on. From salutation we come to another part of the message, and that is the main body of the message. Main body of the message, that is the message that you are writing, right? Normally we write our paragraph in indented forms, that is we leave some space and then start from the first line of the paragraph from at least giving 5 spaces. Like you can take it like this, 5 spaces, but the next line of the paragraph again start from the same block form, or in a from the same place where we started the upper part of the letter. So this is how different lines of the paragraph go. Sometimes our letter has one paragraph only, sometimes it has more than one. Remember, in the spacing in the paragraph is single space. All the lines of the paragraph are given single space, and double space is given between 2 paragraphs. But if we have a small letter, short letter, in that case we can give double spacing within the paragraph. That is not some very hard and fast rule. It is again, subject to the requirement of the message, and beside it should show our taste, that how do we look at the message and what will our reader feel when we will be reading the message. So aesthetic taste is always involved in these things. So after we have gone through with the body of the letter, we come to the next part of the letter. So before we go on to this part, let's revise, or let's count that how many parts we have discussed. The first part is, yes, heading. Heading is your address. Then comes the date of the letter. Then comes the inside address, the address of the reader. And then your salutation, and then your body of the letter. So heading 1, date 2, inside address 3, salutation 4, body 5. So you have discussed 5 parts of the message. Now we come to the 6th part. 6th is the complimentary close. Complimentary close, as a salutation is a greeting phrase, like when 2 people meet, they exchange greeting. Similarly, when 2 people part, what do they say? They say, see off to each other. Farewell, they bid farewell to each other. Similarly, this complimentary close is a seeing off phrase. Complimentary close has the same level of formality that correspond to the salutation. If the salutation is formal, complimentary is formal. If the salutation is informal, complimentary is informal. If the salutation is friendly, complimentary close is friendly. So look at different types of complimentary closes. If your salutation is dear sir, your complimentary close is yours sincerely. If your salutation is very formal, that is sir, we sometimes write yours obediently, but normally this is very formal. If it is formal, it's dear sir, the complimentary close is yours sincerely. If it is dear madam, yours sincerely, and so on. Sometime when we are friendly, we write cordially yours, or yours cordially. Again, it can be yours sincerely, yours sincerely, yours. Yours faithfully, or faithfully, yours. So there is no problem with these types of salutation. But the only thing that we need to take care of is the correspondence in the level of formality between the salutation and the complimentary close. From Complementary clause, we come to the next part, that is signature. Signature is made, for example, if this is the complementary clause, we leave 4 spaces and then write the name preceded by any courteous title. So in this space, in these four spaces, we sign the letter, right? So we write after the signature, we write the name of the person signing the letter. Sometimes the person, sometimes we sign for somebody, and in that case we write for. Nowadays there used to be other words for it, but nowadays we write for. For example, for general manager, for purchase manager, for anything. And sometimes name is written, sometimes mere title or position of the person signing is given. The letter must be signed in ink. Though sometimes nowadays we have to circulate our messages at a large scale. In that case, it's not possible for the person writing to sign every letter. And so in that case, we write that this type of a message does not require any signature. This type of a sentence is written in such messages. Self-generated message, and it does not require any signature. Sometimes any rubber stamp or other type of a stamp is used when circulation takes place at a larger scale. But if you are writing any single letter, it is very important that it must be signed. Suppose that you have written a letter, you've taken care of all the things that we've been discussing so far, and it is not signed. Is it going to bring back any desired result? I'm sure not. So signature is very important. Then we have another point, and that is reference section. Reference section, double space below the signature or the name of the person signing. Reference line basically tells that who has composed the message and who has typed the message. This helps in locating the writer of the person, the composer of the person, and the typist of the person. For example, we write for example, the first AH shows the composer. For example, it is Ahmed Hassan, and the second NB, that is in small, show that who has typed the message. It may be Naim Burke or anything. So these are the essential part of a business message. What are these essential parts? These essential parts are: number 1, heading; number 2, date; number 3, inside address; number 4, salutation; number 5, body; number 6, complementary clause; number 7, signature; number 8, reference section. These are essential part of any letter, any message. Heading is not necessary if you are using any letterhead which carries all the information about the writer of the message. But if you are not using any letterhead, in that case, heading is very important. The heading is the address of the writer. So, at least all these 8 parts must be present in every communication. Letter, I mean specifically talking about letter, because memos are written in a different format that we will be discussing later on. But since we are discussing about letters, we must be sure that each letter has all these 8 parts. Sometimes in our convention in Pakistan, we do not use this reference section. So, as I told you earlier, that the number of these parts depends on the convention of your organization or your country. So, if it is not written, it's okay. It's not important and needs any stress on your part. You have to, when you join a company, you go into a certain convention of writing, of style, of format, and all these things, and you conform to follow those styles. Beside these essential parts, 8 essential parts, we sometimes, as per the requirement, use some non-essential parts. These non-essential parts are employed whenever we want to convey certain information. So these non-essential parts are: number 1 is attention line, number 2 is subject line, number 3 is enclosure, number 4 is copy notation, number 5 is file or account number, and number 6 is postscript. So far as the first one is concerned, that is attention line. Attention line is sometimes used to attract the attention of the person, or when we want that correspondence, that message to reach a certain person. So, for example, attention general manager. So in that case, we all know that the letter belongs to general manager. Sometimes we use specific name. Sometimes if we do not know the name, or we do not know about the position of the person whose attention is required, we simply write the department in that case, right? So attention line is written between the inside address and the salutation. After this attention line, we have another important non-essential part, that is subject line. Subject line is written between the salutation and the body of the letter. Sometimes the word subject is written and then a colon follows it, and then the subject of the communication is given. This helps us in understanding the whole message of the letter, or what comes after it at a glance. So in official correspondence, subject line is frequently used and found in business messages. So if it is to be written, again, if two parts come, if another part comes between two parts, it will be having double space over and double space below. Always keep this in mind, that any new part has to be introduced by giving double space. This spacing is very important when you are writing. For example, at this very point, a question may occur in your mind. You may think of one thing, that when you will be writing in your examination, how will you deal with this aspect of your messages? Because one thing is there, that you will be given lined paper, and another thing is you are required to write messages as they are written in practical situation. Remember that I always suggest my student in that case, that to show that they are leaving double space, they must leave one line. So if you have started writing heading and now you have come to the date, leave one line. So leaving one line means that you are leaving double space. And when you are writing, for example, the heading, don't leave any line. It will show that you are writing heading with single space. And similarly, the rest of the message of the letter, like the paragraphs, you are writing on every line, and when you are moving from one paragraph to another, you are giving double space by leaving one line. So this will show that you are using double space in your messages. So I was talking about the subject line. So subject line is to be written under the salutation and over the body. It may have the word subject or it may not have the word subject. Then we have enclosures. Enclosure means that if our letter has with it, it must be mentioned on the letter. For example, sometime we are sending some brochure with our message, sometime some other copies related to our message. So these are all called enclosure. We have to mention whether the enclosure consists of 1 page, 2 page, 3 page, whatever. We have to mention enclosure 1, 2, 3, 4, so that, or sometimes we write enclosure some certificate, some brochure, etc. Sometimes we do write these type of things. So the enclosure is written 2 spaces below the reference section. After an enclosure we have copy notation. If you want to send your letter to more than one person, beside your main addressee of the letter, you will have to write the addresses below the signature portion. It may be 1, it may be 2, it may be 3, it can be any. So you write CC. It's an old initials for this that shows carbon copies. I mean carbon copy. It shows that this copy was sent to so and so person. Maybe nowadays we may find PC photo copy. So this section tells that this letter was, or this communication was sent to how many people and who they are. So after this section we have another non-essential part, that is file or account number and mailing notation. This is sometime included in the messages to aid people in filing that communication. That is written above the body of the letter. After this filing or account number, we have another non-essential part, and that is postscript. Postscript is written in the end of the message. I mean that is the last part of any message. Postscript sometimes relates to something missing in the main body of the message, or sometimes it may have some personal comment. If we are well versed and well known to the reader of the message, we may want to convey some personal comment to the reader. So in that case we write this postscript. Postscript we normally say PS. So PS is written at the end of the letter, right quite near the bottom of the letter, and it shows that either something from the letter is missing or some personal comment is being given, or sometimes we want to overemphasize, stress something. So for that matter we write this. After this postscript we are almost finished with the non-essential part of the business messages. These non-essential parts are included to strengthen the validity of the message. We want to tell that we are sending something extra with the message, so enclosures are added. We want to tell that this file belongs to this communication belongs to certain file or certain account number, so account number and file number is added to it. So all these parts basically are included whenever we feel desired, we feel their need. These different parts basically form our messages, our business messages. There are some essential parts and there are some non-essential parts. So far as the essential parts are concerned, they are always there. Non-essential are sometime there and sometime not there. Now we would like to see all these parts on the paper. So we will be discussing now the format of the letter, but now today's time is over and we will discuss these things in our next lecture. With this, we finish our today's lecture and I seek Khuda Hafiz from you. Thank you very much.